we're gonna do a quick little fun summer painting today, and we're gonna start out with just some splatters. The hardest part about this is controlling your splatters. I'm gonna get some blue, so we're gonna make some little popsicles today. So I saw someone use the same strategy or way to do this, but they did flowers, and I thought, well, let's try that with popsicles today. So you're just going to splatter some paint and then rinse your brush a little bit, and then just come in here and make a popsicle shape using that paint that's on that paper. So I'm just kind of doing around, and then I'm going to get a little more color and just kind of dot it down that center, and then I'll come back in a minute and add some more, and then we'll just go to our next color, and let's go to red, and I'm going to do some more splatters there, and I'm just loading my paint with a lot of color, some water and color, and then just tapping it on my finger there. I'm gonna rinse that color out of my brush, and then just come in with a wet brush and do another popsicle shape. This kind of brings me back to my childhood. We played outside all the time as kids. We were always outside, and there was nothing like on a hot day coming and getting a popsicle. And then we had a big chest freezer out on our carport, and we could go and get a popsicle. And let's see, let's do kind of a teal color here on this side. So I really just tried to find some fun colors in my paint palette that reminded me of popsicles. So this is a Daniel Smith color here. I can't remember what it's called. And then rinse my brush, just get it with water, and then come back in. And get a little more color on my brush. And I'm kind of watching these as they dry, because I do want to add just a little more color. So before that blue dries, I'm going to go back in and get some blue, kind of just dot it. I'm kind of picturing that dent in that the center of that popsicle, and just kind of putting some color there in the center. I'm not sure my red is dry enough, but and I might even go just add I'm going back to my paint palette and actually getting just a little more just direct color and putting it in there to get that a little more saturated look right there in the center while it's still wet, so that it can not be, it'll just blend better if it's there like that. And so what I did was just go back to my pure color and add a little more to my water palette over here, my my palette with where I've mixed my colors and just added a little more tint to those. So I could just get a little darker shade for that center of that popsicle. So I'm just dropping in a little more pigment. And I'm going to go to an orange, I think. And so I kind of mixed these up before I started painting, just so I would already have and I'm just tapping and kind of directing that. I'm going to rinse that off. And I kind of brush some of the water off of my brush as well, and then come in and make that popsicle shape, picking up some of that pigment from my dots. So this is just a very loose, easy, friendly painting. No stress. And let's go to purple. Let's get a purple one in there. Grape popsicles, I think, were one of my faves as a kid. What was your favorite popsicle flavor as a kid? You can drop your answer in the comments if you feel like it. Get a little more water on my brush here, so I get those drops. Rinse out that pigment and come back in and make the popsicle shape again. Now, these will really look like little popsicles when we add our sticks. And for that last one, let's see, maybe, oh, let's do a pink. A little more paint on my brush. Let me go back in, get a little more, so I get that splatter. And you can always practice on a little scratch piece. You can kind of see, where is this splatter gonna go? You can't mess this up, right? It's supposed to look like a drippy popsicle. That's why I like this kind of painting, because you can't mess up. And you could change it and make it any shape or style popsicle you wanted. And I'm going to go back in and get just a little more of each one of these colors. Again, so I can add just a little more shadow and to them. So I've got some purple already, so I've kind of got a little wonky, but I'm not going to worry about it. Just going to drop in a little more color there. And you could change the size of your brush if you wanted, if you didn't. And if you feel like you need some on those top ones, you could still go back in and add that color now. A little. If you feel like it needs it. That's the cool thing about watercolors, is they change as they dry. Like it's always like a little surprise. You don't know what it's going to look like until it's dry. I always come back a day later and I might add some things to it or add some details at a later date. little more pigment than I wanted, but that'll be okay. And let's do the pink, I think. Just add a little more color there in the center. Okay, so let's go in and I'm going to go to a smaller round brush. This one's a number 2, and I'm going to get a little popsicle stick color, and I'm just going to come in and add a little stick coming in down there underneath there. If you don't want your colors to mix, you could wait till it completely dried before you went in with that little stick. It's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and finish them up now. Alright, so there you have it. There's a little fun summer anybody can do little ice cream painting.